Well, welcome everyone to the Balthazar NFT Gaming Podcast. We are now at episode 11, and I cannot be more excited for this episode. This interview features Johnson Yeh, who is the ex-CEO of Riot Games Asia and is known as the Godfather of China Esports. He has stepped away from that position to create Ambrus Studios, whose team is now developing a MOBA that is specifically for mobile devices. The Godfather of China Esports has a lot to say about this Web3 gaming space, so stay tuned. Well, welcome everybody to the Balthazar podcast here where we interview NFT games. Today, I'm really excited. We have an awesome special guest, a bit of a legend. We got Johnson, which was the ex-CEO of Riot Games Asia. So pretty big role there. Johnson, just start off, how are you doing? Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your project before we do a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. This is Johnson. I'm doing really well. A bit about myself. I spent most of my career with McKinsey, the management consulting firm, before becoming an international lobbyist, joining the World Economic Forum, running the Circular Economy Initiative, which is part of our sustainability team. And then my career took a really drastic turn when I joined Riot Games in 2015. I joined as the head of Esports for China. And then over the next few years, together, me and my team, we were able to grow League of Legends Esports to become China's largest sport. We broadcast 5 billion hours of competitive content. One large game of ours will get over 100 million unique viewers. That makes us larger than NBA, larger than the local soccer and the local basketball league. For China, the most populous country in the world. Our revenue also, grew, like from nothing to like a unicorn level type of revenue. So that was really, flattering for me to be part of that revolution. And as a result of that, I was able to get promoted once every year, became the Asia CEO for Riot Games, where I managed all of esports publishing for the region. I also managed, together with my team, all the co-development games with Tencent, which includes Wild Rift, which includes TFT Mobile, as well as Esports Manager. I was also on the League of Legends Product Executive Committee. So I would say, I'm truly one of the people who know MOBA and Esports really well. I left at the end of 2019, started my series of entrepreneurial entries around sustainability issues. And here I am. I founded Ambrus at the end of last year with a mission of good game for good cause. So really want to bring the power of gaming esports to really help on the sustainability issue as well. But also to be able to build the first large DAU game in Web3. So that's a quick intro.
Awesome. I love it. And again, I mentioned this before the podcast, but I love watching League. It's a great entertainment for me. I'm always checking in the games and, usually in NA and EU matches, which, typically don't go very well for us in the West against the Asian teams. But I just appreciate your hard work and the team's work at Riot, because that's awesome thing that you guys are building out there, or that you were a part of. So really appreciate that. But before we jump in a little bit more to your specific game and your studio, I don't know if your team told you this, but they've said, hey, Luke, we've done plenty of AMAs. Johnson's done plenty of interviews. Can you do something a little bit more fun, a little more spicy? So they told me I need to come up with a game. So I hope you're prepared because this is going to be the rapid fire question game. Essentially 2 minutes to answer as many questions as possible. So it's not going to rely only on you. I have to get the questions out quickly as well. All right. So are you ready for this?
I am.
Okay.
Whatever we need.
Okay, we got 10, so we'll see if we can get through all 10 in 2 minutes. So quick responses as fast as you can go. I'll start the timer in 3, 2, 1. First video game ever played?
楚汉之争. It's a Chinese game between like end of Han Dynasty. It's a SLG game.
Favorite video game all time?
League of Legends.
Favorite NFT you own?
Lauren, by a good friend.
Okay. Best League of Legends character?
Amumu.
Who will win at League of Legends Worlds this year?
Oh, wow. Um, TES, Taobo.
Okay. Favorite food?
Um, Taiwanese lu wei, which is like marinated, lots of stuff dumped into marination sauce.
Yum. Sounds good. Best place to vacation?
Um, Guam,
Okay. Best crypto token?
IMX.
Favorite esport team?
Too many, but I am going to say a very strange one. CFO, China Trust Flying Oysters.
Woo. All right. And last one, your top hobby outside of gaming?
Playing badminton.
Badminton. All right. Good job. You got a minute and 40 seconds. So we get it. Badminton. I wasn't expecting badminton. That's pretty fun. How did you get into that?
I've been playing badminton for like the last 15 years. I started out just playing with my friends, and then I got more and more into it. I like even now, like on my TikTok, like I got so many like badminton videos. I just enjoy the sport.
Well, congrats. You are our leaderboard for now. You're at a minute 40, so we'll see if you continue to hold that. But I want to hear more about what you're doing in the Web3 space, but starting with kind of your story here. So first, I would just love to hear more about the CEO of being Riot Games Asia. What was that like? Give us maybe like what was the best part of having that job, and maybe what was the most either difficult or worst part of that job?
um, Best part was, I was managing a decent portion of League of Legends population in terms of player base, in terms of revenue base. These are by far the largest regions. It had a portfolio of very, very different places. Korea, which I was just shadow managing at that time. Japan, which is self-publishing but small. Southeast Asia, where we were changing publisher, and then Tencent, where we had a very, very flourishing ecosystem, but then a problem, well, pretty much a world of its own. So, I was managing in region, but then it's literally like managing so many different games, which is really fun. The part that I like the least is probably the travel part. And this travel part, I have to say, is self-induced. Um, at that time, my family, well, I was divorced at that time. My daughter is still in Taiwan, while I was in Los Angeles. I tried to, take her over, but it was really hard for me, as a single dad to live with her in Los Angeles. So I decided that every month I'm only going to stay in LA for 2 weeks, which is one weekend. And then the remaining 2.5 weeks, I am going to run around between Asia and spend probably no more than 3 days on any city on the ground. And then but go back to Taiwan to be with my daughter every weekend. That was extremely tiring. I flew once, if not twice, across the Pacific every month. But then, it was worth it for the family. But then it was really tiring. And now these COVID years, I really start to like the days of not flying anymore.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting. I mean, as you're describing that, I'm getting tired just thinking about having to do that. Next, I'd just love to hear what brought you from being the CEO here at Riot Games Asia to now being the CEO of Ambrus Studios. Because those are pretty big different changes, right? You're working in Web 2 esports to now a Web 3 gaming space. What was the change there and what was the reason behind it?
The simple way to put it is because of my own passion. I have many passions in life. So gaming obviously is one of them, but then professionally it is climate change, it is entrepreneurship, and I really wanted to be able to have the ability to build a global brand. Um, and if you want to combine all of those things together, there are many things that I feel like I couldn't fulfill in Riot. There was a trigger point for me at end of 2018 where I received like a huge offer from another gaming company, which made me feel flattered, but at the same time, I realized that I need to start to think about what I really want to do in the long run. Otherwise, being in League of Legends, being Riot was just too fun. I didn't even stop to think what I want to do in the long run. So I took a month to soul search myself, talk to everyone I cared about. And then my conclusion is that I want to combine all of my passions and then do my own startup. So on the same day, I turned down the offer. I gave Nicolo, who was my CEO in Riot, a 12-month notice. And then, I decided to start preparing for my own entrepreneurial path. That path started with some circular economy based startups, which had mixed success. And then over the last couple of years, it was the COVID times in China. There were lockdowns in Shanghai, all of that. So it was going okay, but then I was looking for ways to super boost it. I was looking for new trends, how I can pivot, how I can accelerate the team. When I found out about Web3 late last year, and I'm like, holy shit, this is going to change the gaming industry. So I took most of my legacy team and then started building Ambrus Studio with a goal to find that sweet spot between Web3, MOBA, and then esport.
Awesome. I love that story. I love the passion that was the decision behind jumping into this new space. And I'm curious, in your view, you just said, hey, this Web3 is, a really exciting opportunity for gaming. What makes it exciting? Because, on the other hand, you see a lot of people that are still in the Web2 gaming that see, oh, all these NFTs are a scam. These blockchains are destroying the environment. We hear a number of reasons that maybe they don't want to jump into this space. What is it that excites you, and what do you think we need to do to maybe help Web2 gamers see that same excitement?
Yeah, really good question. So a few things excite me. First of all, I do believe in decentralized ownership. The interoperability of the NFTs. I've seen so many cases. Of the downside of centralized storage. Yes, they have many advantages too, right? But then, I do think that this is a new path where, the ceiling is very high. Two is that the market and the way we fundraise, right, is so different. I mean, this is the way I would describe it. Web3 is created bottom up by the community, by a bunch of young entrepreneurs. And then as a result, the ecosystem for fundraising is extremely entrepreneurial friendly, which is very, very favorable to us entrepreneurs. Three, I love the power of community. I was able to build one of the largest gaming communities in League of Legends esport. And that's truly my expertise. But I feel like in Web2, the depth of community engagement is not nowhere near where it is in Web3, right? In Web3, we are doing so many things with our community. We're talking to them, we're getting feedback about the game, we are co-creating content with them, whether it's our universe, our lore, our champion design. We even have like a voice dubbing contest, and where we got really awesome input. I just love the fact that we are co-creating this game from the very, very beginning with our community, and they're really part of it. And that's the part I really want to harness the power of community. Honestly, the genre I'm building, right, MOBA, is so hard if I'm not doing Web3. If I'm doing Web2, I would like to, I need to be building it with like a giant. Otherwise, it will never be successful. But I think Web3, the DNA of community, allows me to, it's almost like David versus Goliath. I can bottom up build this with a bunch of believers for us. That's three. And last but not least, I really feel like, a balanced game with a large DAU that has a high spectator element in it, which is esport. We can break through traditional ceilings for monetization in terms of how we monetize our skins. Because traditional skins, right? They're selling aesthetics, they're selling, vanity and status. But NFTs sells those things too, but adds rarity, uniqueness, and that's verified as well using blockchain technology. But also, if you design this right, you can add a lot of emotional attachment to it. So that's really what I want to be able to sell, right? A lot of unique NFT skin series that hundreds of millions of people have their emotions attached to. Um, from the very, very top, it is like NBA Top Shot type of skins. On the very, very bottom, it could be like, your own pentakill, something you really want to commemorate that you have your emotions tied to. I want to be able to use this to build a series of unique emotional attached NFTs that makes traditional games so much more meaningful and so much more unique and a much higher value. So we think that this is uniquely doable in Web3 space.
Yeah, I definitely get excited by those same things that you're talking about there, and even though from the outside people might think, oh, why would you want your pentakill, put into an NFT? Like, who cares? But as you described that, I can literally think back to one of the very few pentakills I've actually had in League of Legends, my first one, and it'd be like, oh, how cool would that be if I still had that clip as an NFT that I could constantly go back to and share that memory with my friends that were there when it happened, right? Like that brings value, even if it's maybe not monetary value.
Yeah, it's vanity value, right? And it's valuable to yourself.
Well, I'm curious, as you've explained this, I'm assuming you still have lots of connections with Web2 gamers, maybe past coworkers or friends from Riot. What do they think about this new adventure for you? Do they think you're crazy? Like, do they look at the Web3 and like, that doesn't make any sense? What are you talking about? Like, you're off your rocker? Or do they say, oh, that's a really cool thing. Tell me more about it. What's the response been?
Well, it's been pretty mixed. From my past role, right? And keep in mind that I was I started as the Riot CEO for China. So, in China, there's even less people who understand, the appeals for Web3 because we live in, a bit of a metaverse here. And then Web3 information is not, flowing nearly as much. And it's not talked about as much. But in general, people are like, we don't really understand Web3. But Johnson, what you're doing sounds really cool. Good luck. I do think that a lot of Web2 gamers, Web2 gaming executives, as well as just like the esports people, they still haven't gotten the appeal of Web3 yet. And then that's my passion, my aspiration as well, right? I want to bridge this gap. I want to be able to bring 10 million users from Web2, give them an experience that they are comfortable with, and give them a system where they can now comfortably discover what Web3 is about. And then if they choose to convert over, all the better. And that's what I really want to do because I think Web3 is definitely worthwhile for people to know better.
Awesome. I love that vision. And I think at Balthazar, that's why we love working with games like you guys, because we have that same vision as well. We want more players to come into this space and have an easier time doing so and have a better experience than, some of the Web3 that started this, even though they're historic games. It's been a hard experience for a lot of players to understand and get into this space. So I love that you guys have that vision. We're right there with you. I want to move on to the esports side of things, though, because you keep mentioning esports. Obviously, that's your background. I want to know, is there something unique about Web3 esports that's different to Web2? Or is it simply, hey, we just have to build a great game and an audience that's going to be able to compete with other Web2 esports?
Well, great question. There are for sure ways to make Web3 esport different, and there's many paths, right? I mean, of course, there's like play esport games to earn, even view to earn. There's many things like that, but our fundamental belief is that we want people to play our game for fun and watch our game because they enjoy watching it, not because of some earning element. We don't believe in the sustainability of the to earn model. So we purposely chose a path which is not necessarily the only path. It's simply the path that we chose, which is, we build a game that's fun. We build a game that's fun to play and fun to watch. And then it's a little bit quote unquote built for esport, much like Riot Games Valorant. And then you will just be able to enjoy the esport. And then the esport part pretty much is all the same except two parts. One, the community that we're building, right, is a lot more bottom up. And so that's the community that we are already building. Uh, and then they're going to be our best ambassadors to help spread the word. And two, it is the experience, where the experience is more immersive, more interactive, and then the experience has a lot of these unique emotional attachments attached to that experience, and then we'll be able to make sure, because so many people share that common emotional attachment, we can do better monetization. So those are the two real differences. Outside of that, I would say we are really not trying to build a completely different esport. There's so much past success formula that we know from our LPL building up days, and I completely want to leverage all of them.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear about. And I'm curious, what is kind of your level of vision of goal for this esport? Because you are potentially competing with other MOBAs, which, historically have struggled to get off the ground, whether that's Heroes of the Storm or Smite. They have some audience, but nowhere near League of Legends. So I'm curious, what does it mean to have a successful esport to you? Are you literally going to be the one to take down League of Legends esports that you help create? Or is it, like, hey, we're satisfied with just having some good community tournaments? Like, what level are you guys shooting for here?
Well, first of all, I have to start with an emotional statement. I treat League of Legends, LPL, uh, our China league, like my son. I will not let anyone hurt him. My focus is a lot overseas. My focus is like more to the mobile, more casual side. I do think that League of Legends esport will have its unique place. It's extremely, extremely hard to replace. At the same time, I want to be able to create an esport league that is as global as League of Legends esport. I want to be able to capture more, slightly more casual, more tactical users who like the tactical outmaneuvering your opponent type of viewers. I want to be able to penetrate better into like Latin America, Middle East, emerging Asia, even Africa, which League of Legends was not able to do. I want to be able to build a large viewership. As I said earlier, my goal is to bring 10 million users over, right? So that's going to be our, let's say, medium term goal. But yes, eventually, if you ask what's my long term goal, I really hope that E4C Final Salvation will become the world's largest mobile esport. I don't know how many years will it take. I don't know whether we will be able to get there. But hey, at least we have this high ambition that this is something we really want to build towards.
Great. Yeah, I mean, in Web3, we're all shooting for the moon, right? So it's awesome that you guys have that goal and vision in mind. And I'm curious, you mentioned the mobile aspect of that. Is that a big thing to get those other regions? You've talked about Africa and more of South America. Is that why someone like, or some game like League of Legends or Dota hasn't hit that market? Is because most of those players are still mobile?
So if you look at let's say these a very very underserved market like Pakistan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, um, hardware is a huge issue. As in most people don't have PCs, they don't have consoles. They have very very cheap mobile phones. So be building a game experience that they can play, and that's fun. That's easy for them to get into. That means a huge market for us. So that for sure is one of our winning formula. We want to not just serve gamers in in developed markets where they have so much different choices. We also want to go to these untapped markets where the competition level is low, but these are very, very underserved players, and give them a great experience, and then therefore be able to build quote unquote bottom up, community driven, very much like the Web3 DNA, and that's what we also want to do.
Great. Yeah. And I think I saw on your website and a little bit of your trailer that you guys are building this specifically for mobile, which I think is different than a lot of other MOBAs that can be on the mobile phone. Is that a lot of them have just, taken their MOBA that's on PC and said, hey, we're going to slap this onto the phone, really with maybe some small tweaks. So what is it about E4C, if someone hasn't seen this game, how would you describe that this is being specifically built for mobile gaming, and here's what's going to be different about it?
Yeah, great question. So we look at the current mobile landscape, right? And then in the mobile landscape, there's like four big ones. Honor of Kings, its overseas version, Arena of Valor, MLBB, Wild Rift. Those are like the largest ones. But they've all been also only to get large scale success in China and Southeast Asia. So we see a lot of untapped potential still. So what we are doing is we're making mobile MOBA shorter and faster, more intense and more team fights, so that it's more fun to play and more fun to watch. And we're taking away what is not very easy on mobile, which is micro control. And then we're simplifying the control, but adding to the complexity of tactics and strategy and outmaneuvering your opponent with skill shot. So we're making we're essentially making mobile game a little bit lighter per se, but then more mobile friendly, so to say. And then that's how we are planning to revolutionize the MOBA genre.
Well, Johnson, that makes my heart happy because I've tried some of those MOBAs and definitely just resonate with what you're saying. It's hard to get those micro controls when your joystick is on the screen and it's always sliding around. That drives me absolutely insane. So I love that you guys are actually thinking about the mobile experience rather than just saying, "Hey, let's put a mobile on mobile and see how it goes." So congrats to your team. I'm excited to try the game, especially because of that. I want to kind of the last few couple questions here. I want to move on to talking about the Ambrus Studios in general, and you've talked about even earlier this concept of gaming for good, and your game has a specific name, E4C. Do you want to talk a little about what does that E4C mean? What are you guys doing? I saw some donatings of the proceeds. What is that all about?
Yeah, E4C is our metaverse that we're building. It stands for Earth 4 degrees Celsius. In fact, our current placeholder name for the token that we're selling is called Earth 4 degrees, E4D as well. So, it is very much, the theme here. We, Earth is on track to increase by 4 degrees Celsius by the year of 2100, which is, going to bring a lot of dire consequences. And, what's really hurting us is, since like Kyoto Protocol, it's been 20 plus years, everyone says they're going to take action. And yes, there's been plenty of action that's taken. But, we are not innovating fast enough, right? Our temperature is still rising. Our, greenhouse concentration in our atmosphere is still, increasing. So we really need to do something together. And one intersection for disruptive innovation is between gaming and climate change, where there's been very, very little that's been done. So I really want to innovate there. So I decided to build a gaming studio with a mission of good game for good cause. Every game want to build a game that's fun, that's has a lot of players, that's profitable, blah, blah, blah. We do too. So I'm not really going to focus on that part, right? We want to focus on gamers. Let's together do something that makes the society proud, makes your parents proud. So many people feel like there's a bad name, gaming is addictive, your parents think it affects your studies, blah, blah, blah. I want gamers to be proud of themselves and do something that really helps the world in the climate issue. And how we're going to do that? A few things. First of all, our universe setting, Earth 4 degrees increase. We're going to increase the awareness building and then just let people know about the dire consequences of climate change. Two, we're going to have about half of our in-game missions be like online, offline missions where you can do things that's positive for the world, and then you'll be able to get some reward for that, and then we're slowly building into a very automated recognition system of if you do something good for the climate, then we'll be able to capture it. And then last but not least, yes, we plan to donate some of our profit to climate related causes. And then we want our community to care about this issue, right? That's why this is always part of the AMA. I mean, most of you guys are probably following our Twitter, our Discord because our game seems promising. But if you hear me talk about climate change once, 5 times, 10 times, I'm sure at least it's going to touch your nerve one way or another at some point. That's what I really want to do, right? I want all of us to really care more about the climate change issue. So that's the unique mission that we're building. And then in the foreseeable future, we'll be building in this metaverse, in this ecosystem. So E4C is going to be, the focus of Ambrus Studio.
I love that. Yeah, taking a way to combine, the entrepreneurial side, the Web3 side, and this, charity and fundraising side and awareness side. That's pretty incredible that you guys are able to do that, because we've seen not only not other projects fail to do something as good, but we've seen a lot of space in the Web3 of NFT games actually doing the opposite of scamming people and being profit hungry. And so it's not only good for the environment, but I think it's also just good for this industry that you guys are doing these good things and can help, as you said, gamers can be proud of something, right? Like that's an incredible thing of we can actually show, hey, look at what we did together just by being a part of this video game community. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and we all want something to be proud of, right? And then I feel like this is not something that you'll be proud of yourself with your friends, but also with your relatives. Like, hey, we're doing this awesome game together, and then together we have built up this community that will truly make a positive impact to the world. I think that that is exciting.
Well, last question I have for Ambrus Studios here is you've talked about the metaverse. You've talked about, we have this studio here. Does that mean that E4C is going to be the main game and the only game, or is there more that you guys are planning ahead with some potential other games as well?
Well, I sort of covered a little bit of this in my earlier question. League of Legends, it took them like 10 years plus to come up with a second game. But League of Legends, the game continues to evolve, patch every 2 weeks, big changes every season. We plan to do what League of Legends does, which is what we want to do is to make E4C Final Salvation a game for generation, game as a service, and continue to upgrade it. Yes, we'll eventually, build outside of the E4C verse. We'll eventually, build more experiences beyond E4C Final Salvation. But in the foreseeable future, our focus is going to be to enhance this ecosystem built around E4C Final Salvation and make our MOBA game, our mobile MOBA game, even more powerful and let more people, come to Web3 because of this game.
Great. Well, Johnson, I'm excited for all that's ahead for you guys. You got to promise me that every time you guys release some kind of beta or alpha, you let me know, because I want to jump in there and start trying things. It sounds like you guys got a good thing going on there. Any place that you'd point people to if they're hearing this and they haven't been a part of the community? Would you point them to Twitter, Telegram, Discord? Like, what would be the main areas to connect with you guys?
Yes, please follow our Twitter and Discord. If you search E4C column Final Salvation, you're going to be able to find us. And then if you search Ambrus Studio, you can probably find us too. So there's many ways to find us. Yes, but now start with Twitter. That's probably the easiest place.
Well, thank you for taking the time, Johnson. I wish I had like 5 hours with you to just pick your brain. It's been a great conversation. I hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you for coming on. We'll have to connect again some other time.
Definitely, and you got it for like the beta testing. For sure, you'll be part of our beta testing players.
All right, I'm excited. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time, Johnson.
Thank you, Luke. Bye bye.
Well, thank you, Johnson, for taking the time to come on to this interview. I feel like I learned a lot about E4C, but also the whole Web3 gaming industry as a whole. Your insight into this industry was really helpful, and I hope that everyone that is listening here has learned a lot. Hopefully, we'll get more time with you later on, but for now, feel free to jump over to Balthazar's website to see our other resources. If you're on our YouTube, I'll see you at one of these other videos around me. And if you're on our podcast, stay tuned for the next episode. Gracias, Salamat, and thank you all for tuning in.